Well, I'm not even going to bother with bouillon cubes as a substitute because, well, you already know that. But chicken broth is mostly just salty water with a little flavor and fat from the chicken in it. So the best substitute is, well, water. You can add the same amount as you would chicken broth. And then just add half a teaspoon or a quarter teaspoon if you want a low sodium substitute of salt in it. There's also an option to make your water even more like the fatty chicken broth substitute. So let's talk about how to do that and some more alternatives. Now, chicken broth adds moisture and saltiness to a dish, but also has some flavor enhancers. Your dish often already has flavor enhancers, essentially making its own broth from the meat and vegetables in the recipe. That's why water is perfect for adding moisture to most dishes and is more flexible because you can add the saltiness to your liking. Any dish with meat or beans in it will essentially create its own flavorful stock because those add a great taste to liquid. Now, you can make chicken soup with just water and salt, of course, and for some dishes the taste might be a little flat. But you can always add some more of the onions, carrots, garlic and other things in your stew to get it to the same level. Now, one extra tip though, if you want to imitate the fat in chicken broth, you can add a tablespoon of olive oil to plain water to make it an even closer substitute. My favorite chicken broth substitute though is a delicious vegetable broth. And I'd recommend using vegetables with neutral and savory taste like carrots, garlic and mushrooms. You can use corn as a flavor enhancer, and additional seasonings like cumin powder and paprika are also often found in store-bought chicken broth. Now, Mirepoix is essentially chicken broth without the chicken because the same combination of onion, carrots and celery is added to water to make it. This comes closest to a vegan substitute, plus they are the same vegetables recommended to make the vegetable stock substitute. If you can find it, you can add it to water to make your broth. Now, is chicken stock a good alternative to chicken broth? Well, you can use both, although chicken broth is made of chicken meat instead of the added bones and cartilage in stock, which gives it a lighter flavor. This is because the bones and cartilage add collagen due to the gelatin released by long simmering bones. The secret to the richer texture. If you substitute chicken stock for broth, use 1/4 cup of water for every 3/4 cups of chicken stock to get to 1 cup of chicken broth in your recipe to get to the same amount of flavor in your dish. Now, beef broth has a distinctive robust flavor and is much stronger than chicken broth. It can sometimes overpower other flavors in the dish. Beef broth doesn't make for a very good chicken broth alternative in most cases, but if you're low on chicken broth and you only have beef broth available as an alternative, try diluting it with water to make your soup. I don't have a specific ratio for you here because it really depends on your dish, so just add in a little and start tasting. Now, soy sauce gives a lot of flavor, but it's very salty, so you can only add a little to your dish. Add 2 teaspoons of soy sauce to a cup of water to get the same rich flavor you would with chicken broth. Now, white wine is also a good choice, and some say to use a 1-to-1 ratio, but I think that would alter the flavor of your dish too much, especially if it isn't Mediterranean cuisine. Use half a cup of dry white wine and half a cup of water for every cup of chicken broth in your recipe, and you'll get a nice flavor without overpowering your dish. Combine this with more dried herbs and spices in the dish to give it that extra flavor boost. Okay, you might not have this on hand either, but this is a great substitute. Chickpea liquid, or Aquafaba. It's a leftover liquid from cooking or soaking chickpeas, and it's a common ingredient used by many people with egg allergies or vegans looking for an alternative to traditional ingredients like eggs and dairy products. To use it as a broth substitute, you'll want to dilute the Aquafaba with an equal amount of water. So that's half a cup each for 1 cup of chicken broth. So the next time you're in your pantry and you don't have any chicken stock, you know what to do. And I also have this video on the best fish stock substitutes as well. Check it out.